Birthday.
And we're doing a podcast.
I like birthdays.
Linda likes birthdays.
I really do.
Because it's not a day, it's a birth week if we're lucky.
If we're lucky.
I mean, yes, you're right. I enjoy birth week, Linda's birth week.
I mean, we had friends that did birth seasons, but that was before they had kids. But they're like, you just do things like go on a fun hike. And I was like, I don't.
Hon, here's your gift. I'm going to give you this Seed Time shirt. You want to rock a Seed Time shirt? Used, yeah.
Yeah, I'll take the Seed Time shirt.
So,
yeah. Anything free, I'll take it. No, but I was
that's
like.
Your gift.
What's really fun about birthdays is that, my favorite coffee shops have sent me coupons to get new, free coffees. I love that. I also heard that Jenny's ice cream, you get free ice cream on your birthday.
Really?
At Jenny's.
Okay.
I was like, all right, we can do that
right.
tomorrow, or we can do that on my birthday for after dinner. And then, I think it's just fun.
Yeah. All right.
I'm into all that. Why not?
Well, yeah, so we're going to go do all this stuff. But first,
all this stuff.
We want to talk a little bit about something even more important than your birthday. How to change
How dare you?
How to change who you will become in the next 5 years.
How dare you want to change me?
And so, I don't want to change you. I just want you to become the best version of yourself, just like I want to be.
That is something when Bob and I got married, and when we were engaged, even you were like, you basically said, I'm going to help you become the best version of yourself. I'm not going to let you stay the same forever.
Yeah.
Which was always kind of you. I mean, I liked that.
Well, I know, but it's hard. Some people never want to change. And, and I believe
not me.
Our journey with Jesus is one of constant change. Mm-hmm. And it's not
constant one of growth, really.
Yeah, growth, not stagnation.
Right.
And that's kind of the idea behind all this. But
I also do really like change.
For change's sake?
Yeah. I was just telling Bob, I'm like, I want a little darker with my hair. How do you like it? And I'm like, basically, tell me you like it.
I do like
it.
I do like it, of course.
I don't know if he really means it, but
I do mean it, of course, hon. You always look good in those pants.
That's right. He knows.
Anyway, so I remember hearing, I think Jim Rohn, I'm not sure, a lot of people have said the quote similar to the effect of, you are the sum of your 5 closest friends in the books that you read. And in 5 years, you're going to be the same person that you are, except for your friends and the books that you read, right? And so,
who's Jim Rohn?
Just like a
is that embarrassing
motivational speaker from a while back.
Does he live in a van down by the river?
Now you're dating yourself.
I don't care. It's my birthday.
It's your birthday.
I don't care.
So somebody's.
I've earned these years. I've earned this.
Somebody's laughing about
maturity.
That skit, that Chris Farley skit from SNL now.
If you haven't seen it, you really should. Because
Google
it is really
van
funny.
down by the river. Anyway. I like that quote. That's always been helpful and inspiring to me, but I'd like to reframe it a little bit because I think a better way to put this is that we're the sum of our 5 biggest inputs rather than just our friends and our books. Because the reality is there's a lot of other inputs that we take in, okay? So social media is a big one.
Yeah.
TVs, movies that we're watching.
The church you're in.
The church, yeah. Podcasts you listen to, classes you take.
But you're doing great because you're listening to this podcast.
And obviously, yes.
Obviously, you're on this road to success.
No, I was going to say, obviously, the biggest input should be in our lives, the Bible, right?
Yes.
And so anyway, so I'm one of those guys. It's like...
you should have liked that joke, though, more than you did.
I did like the joke.
Because it was a good one.
I did like the joke. But anyway, I'm one of those guys who, I don't talk to my friends every day. I'm not texting with them nonstop. Whereas there's some very social people who their friends are a much larger input into their lives.
Like me.
Like you. And on the other hand, I read a lot more books than... Probably you do, although you're growing in that. You're reading more and more.
I am reading more. I think it's because I have a little bit more margin now that the kids are getting older.
Yeah. And so the point in all of this is, I guess, identifying what are your biggest inputs, right? And so I want to talk through basically 3 different kind of ways that I've identified as I was just thinking about this, evaluating this for myself, hopefully this is helpful for you, is how do I be a different person, a better person 5 years from now than I am right now? Okay, how do I make that change? And I think through this context of what we're talking about. So the first thing is that you have to do something different, right? Like you have to intentionally do something different. And if you don't, if it's just left up to chance, the odds are against your growth. Because we don't just default to growing. We default to floating down the stream, whatever's most comfortable, whatever society's taking us, whatever, all that stuff. So we have to be intentional about actually making a change. Otherwise, the default is that we're just not going to grow.
Yeah.
Right?
I agree.
And I'm glad you agree. And you're not just like, nope, I disagree. You're wrong.
That's wrong. No, and I do think that the Lord will, in his kindness, force us into growth. But when you're doing that, it's a lot more painful, I think.
What's more painful?
Like, if you're not seeking after growth.
Oh, when he kind of has to push you into it?
It's kind of like getting pushed off the diving board and you're like, I don't want to. Yeah. But I do think that he does that in his love and his kindness
versus just leaning into it. Yeah.
Yeah. But when we're pushing against that, it makes it a lot harder.
Yeah.
And I feel like if you're pushing yourself more often, then you kind of get comfortably being uncomfortable.
Yeah. All right, number 2 is we need to remove the inputs that aren't improving us or that are making us worse, right? Okay, so if we're spending 2 hours scrolling on, through trash on TikTok, then 2 hours talking to negative friends who are just complaining, spewing negativity all over us all day, and then gossiping friends and or if you're following a bunch of accounts on Instagram that are making you jealous, or whatever, like all of this stuff is not improving us and it's actually sending us backwards. Yeah. And anyway, I actually just saw really interesting, just the other day, I saw this little video clip where this psychologist was explaining what's more important. He basically broke it down. What's more important, to have positive inputs or to avoid negative inputs? And he said, by far, like the studies have shown, that avoiding negative thinking is far more valuable than positive thinking.
Really?
And so in positive thinking, he's like, okay, that's great, do that. But being able to eliminate negative thoughts is so much more important than filling yourself with positive thoughts.
You know what this reminds me of is when we went to the Berkshire Hathaway annual meeting. And I don't remember if it was Charlie or Warren that said it, but they basically said, we're not that smart, we're just avoiding stupidity.
Yeah.
And they've been able to have success because they've avoided being stupid and making stupid decisions. And that kind of reminds me of that. And I wonder if there's something to that. It's just avoiding the negative input.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think that makes a lot of sense. And I don't know, like that struck me as really powerful because, like our negative thoughts can be really, really toxic and pull us down. And so, point in all of this is, again, how do we remove these inputs that are not improving us or that are making us worse, right? And like I started with scrolling TikTok in the trash there. Fun fact, I remember somebody talking about this, and I can't confirm this, but he said that in China, TikTok actually has tons of educational content to improve the lives of their citizens, whereas they make it trash and junk to make all of us dumber here in America.
Isn't TikTok
it's Chinese owned? Yes. So,
oh my gosh! So they're using it to their benefit and our detriment.
Yeah, I mean they've been pretty open about
trying to make us
plans
stupider
to take over the U.S.
That is
so
kind of hilarious.
I think that's really, really funny. And anyway,
don't fall into this.
I don't know if it's
don't
true or
stupider.
not, but I just think it's really funny. So I'll leave it at that. But
oh my gosh.
So the caveat here is, because somebody might say, well, I love my friends or my spouse is a big source of negativity. And it's like, all right, well, you can't, you stay with your spouse. We're not telling you to leave your spouse, but I think within that, there's an opportunity to invite God into the situation because he's bigger than the negative inputs. Because
send them this podcast.
Yeah, because there are situations where it's like you find yourself surrounded by negative inputs and you can't control it.
Yeah.
And therefore, you have to lean into God. But for the things that you can control,
right,
like let's eliminate the ones that we can, right?
kind of joking about that sending this podcast thing, though.
You are.
You got to be careful. You got to have some finesse when you do that.
Okay.
They're like, you really need this.
Just put it on play, like, I don't know, when
Just
they're in the shower.
Just listen to it with them around.
Yeah.
But you've already heard it. And you know.
All right. And then the third piece of this is to increase positive inputs, right? Okay. So we're removing the negative. We're determining first that we need to actually make a change, that there's going to be a change required. We're removing the negative, and then we're increasing the positive. And this is all kind of common sense, but I think it's worth talking about. And again, for me, just thinking through this, evaluating the simple steps that it would take for me to become a different and a better person in 5 years, I don't know, just helpful for me to think through this. But so you want to spend more time around the people who you want to be like, right? The people you admire.
Well, and when we moved here 8 years ago, I left some really valuable friendships in St. Louis. And it was really hard for me to find friends because I was looking for someone to fill the void of what the friendship was that I had left, which, of course, is next to impossible because those friendships I had built over decades, at that point. But I started getting really intentional with the people that I wanted to be around. And so I would find myself, or I just would purposefully be like, I want to hang out with that person, find a way to be able to meet them, and then just be like, hey, do you want to go grab coffee? Or, because I think that this is something that you can do if you find yourself even in a position where you're like, I don't feel like the friends around me are who I want to become or are pushing me forward or whatever. You can start doing that just by growing your friend circle and getting around people more. Yeah. By making new friends. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, that's definitely a big one.
So you have a birthday party, you invite your new friends. Don't just make it your old friends who are, you don't feel like you're in alignment with, right?
Yeah. Yeah, and then you can find books from mentors, and again, this is what's so amazing about books, and I will say this to the day I die. It's just one of the greatest values on planet Earth that you can go spend $15 at one of the world's greatest X in any single thing and get their absolute best tips and strategies and whatever else in it. It's just such a bargain and a steal.
Yeah.
And so some of the greatest business minds in the world, some of the greatest, whatever the thing is you're trying to do and grow and improve in, you can go spend time with them in their book, right?
Yeah.
And so this is such a powerful thing, and this is one of those opportunities that obviously I am trying to take advantage of as much as possible. But anyway, so this is one of those things that I love doing. And I want to add another piece to this puzzle as well. You might not notice a significant improvement by doing this over maybe a few months or even an entire year. And maybe you will. And that would be awesome if you do. If you're like, I did this for 3 months and I've just started to get rid of the negative inputs and the positive ones. And, and you very well might start seeing some significant changes. But it's like that quote that you always hear where people often overestimate what can be done in a year, but underestimate what can be done in 5 years. And this is one of those things where it's in 5 years, your life can absolutely be very, very different. And so anyway, so that's what I'm shooting for. Again, with this podcast and with everything else, I'm just sharing how I'm thinking about things, where I want to go, how we're making some of these decisions and the things we're evaluating. So this is one of the things that's on my mind right now. And so hopefully you find this helpful as well. And Linda has taken off. It's her birthday and she's like, I'm out of here. So, I think she actually is dealing with the kids. But anyway, so with that, we will see you guys in the next one. Have a great rest of the day. Adios.